We get a lot of questions about mind mapping at Celebration Bar Review because it's an essential part of what we think the best note-taking system ought to be. So today I thought I'd just give you a brief overview of what mind maps are if you're not familiar with them at all, and some of the basic steps. Now within the course, we go into a lot more detail, but this is just a brief introduction to the use of mind maps for the bar exam. I want to talk about the different steps for creating a mind map when you're trying to study and take your materials that you've read or photo read and your lectures and putting them together in a note-taking system. The first thing that we want to do is to just define what a mind map is. It's essentially a visual thinking tool, and it's designed to help you brainstorm, certainly, but I think more importantly, organize and visually structure information so you can recall it on the bar exam itself. In my experience, it's the most efficient way to organize ideas in a logical manner. And as you'll see, we've just done some very simple, quick illustrations just to give you a sense that you can do this by hand very simply, and it's really just a way of creating a visual notes-taking system. There are three basic steps to creating a mind map, and I'm going to keep it very simple here. The first step is decide on the topic. You can do mind maps as large a subject or as small as you want. It's our recommendation that you start with the big topic, and we've created many of those for you in a product called BarMaps, but then you may want to drill down deeper, and in doing that, you want to decide what the subject of your particular mind map might be. Secondly, once you've discovered the topic of the mind map, now you want to gather any relevant materials related to the subject. That means looking at the outline, the lectures, the question practice, but put all that material together so that you know what it is you're going to be using. And then lastly, you're going to create sections and subsections for the map. The tip that we want to suggest here is start with the table of contents. Use the outline headings there to create your broad subject mind map. And then as you drill down to deeper and smaller subjects, again, you can use the table of contents. You'll find those in the digital books within our course. And again, we have many of these mind maps already built for you in the BarMaps product. The next step is to organize the mind map. Once you put together all of your materials, you're going to have to decide how to organize it into sections and subsections. Some are going to be more relevant to you than others. So what you want to do is to create what we would describe as an intuitive structure. You want some way to be able to think through it and say, all right, within torts, for example, I've got a section on negligence, or maybe I've got a section on intentional torts, whatever it might be. And within negligence, I might have some separate mind maps that go into deeper parts of that particular topic. So make sure that you're using some sort of an organizational structure that makes sense to you and that you can recall fairly easily. Once you've got the general organization of your mind map put together, it's time to actually create the mind map, and it's not very difficult to do. You can start by drawing the main branches of the map, and I've used a tree example here because it really is like a tree trunk. You put the main trunk in, and then you draw out the branches. Each one represents a section or a subsection of your topic. Then you add notes or other information to each branch. And you can see here we've done some things with graphics and colors, and it's really a very simple way to create the mind map. It's also important to remember that mind maps are dynamic, not static, so they're going to continue to change whether you're doing them on computer or by hand, and you want to be aware of that, and don't get too obsessed with making it perfect right out of the box or even too complete. It will come with time. As you create your mind map, make sure to include visuals. This is going to allow your brain to remember and understand the material better. Where you've got diagrams or images, it will help with recall, and you can do that pretty easily either by drawing them out yourself, or if you're using a computer program like mindmeister.com, which is what we recommend, they've got a particularly stocked set of emojis and pictures and visuals, and you can even import your own. So it's a pretty simple system to use. In addition to visuals, we think you should add links. These are a way to create more detail, and you can link to a relevant website or an article. You could link to a particular page within the outline if that would be helpful to you. There are lots of ways to link up the material. Links are really helpful to give you more detail. And again, links are easier to do when you're on a computer version of a mind map, but you could do it even by writing down the link in a handwritten version of your mind map. As you create your mind map, be sure to use colors and shapes. This will make it easier to remember. It'll make it easier to find information quickly when you're going back to look at the mind map. colors can differentiate between topics, shapes can differentiate between levels of importance. It really is up to you, and it's very specific and personalized and idiosyncratic. Do whatever works best for you. But we do know that the more colors and shapes you use, the easier it is to recall the information. And then after you've started to create your mind maps, test them. Test it by revisiting parts of it, seeing if you can recall details from it, but also test it by just reading it out loud. Take your phone and record as you read the mind map out loud. Then take that recording, put it on replay, put the phone at the lowest possible volume setting, put the phone under your pillow at night, and let it run. You'll listen to your own voice reading your mind map, and that's a very effective way to learn that material. That's what it takes to create a basic mind map. And there's lots of details in our course about mind mapping, and you can find them in your course materials if you're already a Celebration Bar Review student. If you're not a student in our course, we have a product called BarMaps. And BarMaps actually gives you the ability to use pre-made mind maps that we've created and then build up for your own use. We will link to that product. We cover all of the subjects in the MBE and all of the subjects for California, Florida, Georgia, and the UBE as well. And in each of these, you're going to have not only the mind maps, but you'll also have lectures and audio lectures and some additional material that you can use all the way through to study and narrow down your work. I would encourage you to either create your own mind maps or use BarMaps to let us get you started. And as we do our mind maps, we'll take you all the way through detailed levels in each of these subjects. So lots of opportunities here to create mind maps. Hope you found this lecture helpful, and we'll look forward to seeing the mind maps that you create on your own.